What's going on, everybody? It's Endless One Up. You know what time it is. It's time to find out what's on deck. Well, lucky you, that's what you're here for, right? We're gonna frickin' check out Elden Ring. Have you played Elden Ring? This is a revisit of Elden Ring. I already did a What's on Deck. If you want to check out the old What's on Deck, go check it out. Maybe I'll link at the end of this one. But hey, let's get to it. Bring me up to the big board. The reason I'm doing this is I want to see if it changes, kind of if the game gives me any different frame rates. So, let's check out some menu items first. On the Steam Deck side, let's go ahead and... we got our telemetry already up. Everybody can see it. We're going to come down. The frame rate limiter is off. We do not have FSR turned on. Okay. Everybody cool with that? Alrighty. We're going to go ahead and launch into the Elden Ring thing. Let's get me off the screen. Okay, we're going to go to the system. And we're going to check out the resolution. So we're at 1280 by 720. Auto detect best rendering settings. We're going to leave this on for now. We'll try it with it off in a minute. I'm going to turn this on low. And we're just going to leave it there. We're not going to even go into the advanced settings currently. We're just going to try 720p with auto detect best render settings on. And yeah, see what it does. So we're loading into the Steam, we're loading into Elden Ring right now on the Steam Deck. This game is a pretty freaking awesome game. If you haven't played this, I say give it a shot. It's worth your time. And don't give up so easily. Try a couple different classes. If one of them doesn't work, try a different one. All the different play styles, you know, maybe one will work better for you than another one. All right, we're in the game now. We have our settings set to low, and we told it to go ahead and, you know, select the best rendering settings. So right out the gate, we're getting between 35 and 41 frames per second. I think there's a guy back here we can go slicey dicey. Hello? Is there anybody home? Oh, it's the Jimmy Johns. They make good sandwiches, I hear. Let's go get them. Go get us a nice tasty sandwich. This video is not sponsored by a sandwich maker or a sandwich maker son. Oh my gosh, don't die. Kablam. Whew. Oh, that was a close one, buddy. Don't drink the potion. You're gonna die because you're hitting the wrong button and you haven't played it for so long. That's literally what happened there. I was like, I had no idea. This lake should already be opened. I thought I opened this. What's happening? What's in here? Wow, it's a flail. They're my favorite. Oh, it's soldier boots. My second favorite. Okay. So we're getting like 40 frames per second. Pretty good. So you could probably lock the refresh rate and the frame rate down to 40 and just be off the way. And just go about your business. But that's not what we're here for. Let's go ahead and jump out of the game here because we have to pretty much change a lot of the settings outside of the game. So we're going to quit. Go back to the title menu here. Okay, we're back in. Let's go check the settings out. Get me off the screen. Go check out the system. Alright, let's go ahead and turn this off once. And we're going to leave it on low. I just want to see if... What does this do? Does it benefit us? Let's find out. So, we saw what we were getting for frames per second before. We were getting around 40. Let's see if that changes just by turning that one simple setting off. So you can see it's pretty much exactly the same. I feel like it... I don't know if it actually has been helping. Maybe we were getting a 1 frame or 2 frame bonus from that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a difference, does it? Well, what we could do is... Alright, let's bring me back up on the screen here. Let's turn on FSR with low settings here. So I'm just going to click into this. We're just going to turn this on FSR and turn the sharpness to like 5. And jump out. I don't know if it's going to do anything instantly. I mean, geez, we got a frame hit there. Maybe it just takes a second. We'll let it see if it buffers up. No, we got like a big frame hit from trying to turn that on. Well, let's turn that back off because that did not help at all. If anything, it did the opposite. But let's see if we turn it down, turn down some of the sharpness. So That did not help at all. Let's try one more thing. Let's go and try like nearest once. No. It's about the same. So that's a no-go. Let's just turn that bad boy off. And then, yeah. So all that stuff's turned off. We're going to leave the frame rate where it is. So I don't know if you know this, there is a nice little performance settings here that you can say use per game profile. So if you change any of these settings, it will remember it for that game. If you wipe your system though, it's going to wipe those bits of metadata out of there. So be careful. Don't rely on it too much. But it can be useful, especially if you have games that are heavy, intense, and you want to run them at like 30 frames per second. You can cap them here and then use that profile, and it'll settle that stuff up every time you get into it. Alright, so you can see low with the render settings on does help. We were getting in the 40 range. Here, we seem to be getting in the 37 range. So let's go ahead and jump back out. Should we go and put it on maximum and leave it on the 720p? I think we should, just to get a measuring stick on the opposite end of the spectrum. Alright, let's get me off the screen here and go into the settings. Go over to the graphics. We're going to go and turn this back on. And then we're going to just turn this on maximum. We're going to go ahead and hit the back button and go ahead and continue. Get me back up on the screen. So while we're loading into the game, one of my favorite things about Elden Ring is the fact that it kind of gives me Cuphead vibes, where like it might have been hard, but you would try and you would do better and do better and do better, and then you would defeat the boss. And I really like that. It gives you a feeling of accomplishment, and not all games can do that, so that's pretty cool. Let's bring this back up to full screen with me on the bottom. Alright, there we go. So we are in the game. You can see it does not look the greatest right now. I think it looks kind of crappy, to be honest with you. An FSR is not turned on. Like, let's just confirm it. We don't have any of those settings turned on. Hope that doesn't affect anything. You turn that on or off. Does not seem to. But I mean, geez, it looks like we got a 10 frame hit from turning that on. And I almost want to say it looks kind of bad. I think the depth of field thing is bad. So I'm just going to go into the settings here. We're on maximum. I usually go exit out of the game and do this because some of these settings won't let you change them. We're going to go and we're going to turn that off. That doesn't need to be on maximum. Depth of field, we're just going to turn that off. Motion blur off. Leave all that stuff on as is. Alright, cool. It didn't actually make us reset for any of those things. We didn't get a frame bump, though. Yeah, so if you wanted to play the game in maximum, there you go. It's going to be around 30 frames per second, roughly. Probably when you're in the heat of the battle, it's probably going to drop down to 24. If you have a lot of stuff going on, I imagine it might even get worse. So, let's see. Get some people, get a ruckus going on here. Don't blow your horn at me. How dare you? How dare you honk that horn, you honker? Oh, he stabbed me in the freaking uterus. How dare you, buddy? Alright, you get the idea before I die. Let's run away. Run away! Drink the potion. I'm out of juice. No, Susan. As you can see, I'm dead now. It's a good time. You can see our frames per second. Alright, as you can see, we just died. But that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to exit back out of the game here. So I'm going to hit the little Steam button. It's going to yell at me because we're going to exit the game this way. But I don't care. So we're kind of seeing what we're getting for frame rate in 720p. But what's it like in 1920 by 1080? What's it like in other resolutions? So if you've watched any of my other videos, if you go to the properties on the gear icon in the Steam menu here, you can go to general, go down and change this. And I'm going to put it on native because I believe this should give me up to 2560 by 1440. So let's just see. This is a test. Not an acid test. I mean, I guess if you brought your own. But please take tests responsibly. What is this nonsense? Okay, bring me up the screen. Alright, we're launching into the game right now. We're going to try to set it up to 1920 by 1080. Okay, we're launching into the game again. Let's go into the settings here. Let's get me off the screen. Alright, go down to systems. Change this. Let's do 1920 by 1080. Yes. Alright, we're going to leave the auto detect on. We're going to start it low, just like we did before. We're just going to leave this on now. Now that we've already proven, we're going to leave that setting on, because now that we've already proven that like turning that on versus turning it off, we do see a frame hit. So I'd rather leave it on right now. We're just going to leave it on continuously. So let's get to it. Alright, jump out of that, and then we're going to go ahead and continue our game. Alright, we're in the game right now. We are running a resolution of 1080p. We're sitting around 30 frames per second. I have everything set to low. You know, it looks pretty darn nice though, I must say. This is pretty nice. And I bet you can go in and turn a handful of settings off and maybe even get a frame bump. Let's see if we can do that in real time here. So I'm going to go over to these settings, go to advanced. We're going to turn off a couple things. You know, I don't really care. Well, everything's pretty much already off that I can turn off, huh? There's not a whole lot more we can do. Alright. That's not a very good result. Let's go ahead and bump it up to 2560 by 1440. Let's see what we get. We're going to leave everything on, well, it says custom, but it's low settings. Everything's on low. We're just going to make sure it knows it's on low. Alright. So, I mean, there's not a big deviation in frame hits between the different raster sizes. I mean, we're sitting at... And I don't think this has... Yeah, this only goes... This doesn't even do 4K. I did try to do it on this device earlier, and this is the max resolution that it would let me go up to. And we're not going to do that. It's not necessary. But I am curious, what happens if you run, you know, 1440p at maybe medium settings? Okay, so this is one of those settings that if you change this, it's going to make us like exit the game completely. We can do that in a second. I just want to roughly see. I mean, it's still around 30 frames per second. So let's go down to settings. We'll go ahead and exit the game. Go back to the menu. And then we'll just launch back into it. It essentially has to clear out probably its cache or shaders or something like that, and then reload the correct raster size versions of it. Or just the correct, you know, information in general, because we did change a bunch of stuff. Those settings could only be active when you load the game originally. Okay, we're in the game now. You can see we did get a frame hit here. Just loading in, I see at least a 3-frame hit. I know it's going between 25 to 30. We seem to be sitting around 25 more than 30. So, where before we were sitting more at the 30 frames per second. We just had a little frame stutter right there. So it looks like low would be the best way to go. Like this grass though, like all this stuff, yeah, that's not necessary. You could totally turn the grass on low. There's a handful of things like, do you need my shadow here? So like, does it need to look like that? You could set that on low. There's a handful of things maybe you could bump down. You're definitely going to probably get frame hits in battle. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of magic sword on this guy over here with his little shieldy shield. I missed him? How am I going to miss you, guy? That's lame. And he's going to kill me because I'm slow as can be. I'm not trying to block his stuff. I was just trying to murder him. I did not do a very good job of either of those things. There's my old dead body. Give me my old dead body back. You know how many times I've hit the Y button or triangle button, depending on what device you're playing for this game? Oh my gosh. I died so many times playing this game. This game's fun, though. I won't digress. So you can see, I mean, this thing's playable at all these resolutions. It does a good job of handling it. It's very impressive. I guess, though, if you want to get the most out of the thing, you're going to pretty much want to bring everything down again, you know? We're going to quit the game, go back to the title screen. Let's bring everything back down to low just to get that one final baseline, see what we're getting for frames per second. Let's get me off the screen here. Go to system. All right, let's bump this down to 1280 by 720. And we're going to leave this on low. That looks good. Oh, you know what? Can we... It just goes to medium. Why can't I pick low? Alright. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Hoping for kind of in the 40 frames per second range. So we're getting like... Out of the gate, we're getting between 37 and 40. But 37, 35 seems to be the going rate here. I think you could probably squeeze some more stuff out of this, though. Once they probably... I mean, the fact that this game looks like this and we can play it and I'm getting almost 40 frames per second, that's pretty impressive. I wish FSR would help us out here. Let's give it a go one more time. Last time we did it, we got a frame hit. So let's see if we get another frame hit. We'll turn it on and we'll just put the max sharpness, which should make it look the best as possible. So yeah, it got a 10 frame hit almost there. So it does look a little better, though. I'll give it that. Or am I wrong? Maybe it looks a little better, but we got a frame hit. So what's the difference then if I'm just playing it at a higher resolution? I guess I'm getting 3 frames more than if I bumped it up to 1080. I don't know. That's kind of silly. All right, let's bring me up to full screen here. So that's Elden Ring. So that's Elden Ring on the Steam Deck. You can see on low settings when we set everything at 720. So that's Elden Ring. So far, we did 720p, 1080, and 1440. The 1080 and 1440 were pretty similar. It was only a few frames hits. We did run them on low settings and stuff just to see what the max frames we could get out of the gate. We were getting about 30 for each of those. And then when you go down to 720p, as I'm getting my butt kicked here, oh man, let's run away real quick. Oh, see, this is why you leave the game screen up so you can still see when you don't. I don't want to die. No. But while, as I run away, let's continue the conversation. Run away. This is a very Mighty Python and Benny Hill moment there. But I should have ran around a bush. But anyways, let's go ahead and put the controller down. Hopefully it doesn't rumble off the desk here. But yeah, that's Elden Ring. We did 720p. We got around 40 frames per second, sometimes 37 frames per second. That's on low settings. When you bump it up to maximum, it does drop down to 30 to 25, which is kind of playable. And then if you go and try to run maximum on the highest settings, which I didn't show you, it gets really bad. You're running down to like 15 to 20 frames per second and it looks kind of stuttery. I don't think the quality increases that much. I think the frame hit is worse than what you gain in quality. You can see that when we turn FSR on in the game, we do get a frame hit. I think visually it looks slightly better, but we're getting a frame hit, and is it 6 to 1, half to dozen to the other? Like, what do you gain? Could we just run it at 1080p? Like, I don't know. It's. I think that's subjective. But overall, I think this is pretty similar to our first experience. This is not like the Cyberpunk experience. This game has been running great from day one. Good from Software, as I can't talk anymore, but good on you, From Software and Steam and Valve, making this game run so magically. I wish we could get like 45 frames per second out of it. Maybe someday, maybe Steam Deck 2.0 will get us to 60, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, the great thing is we can push this thing out to 1440p. I can plug this into my 4K television, and it still looks great. You know, the max I can only display this game at, though, seems to be that 1600 or 1440. Even when I pushed my resolution outside of Steam, out of the actual game, to 4K, it wouldn't let me change it any higher. But let's get this off the screen here. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Let me know down in the comments. Did you like Elden Ring? Did you play it? Did you hate it? Did you die a lot? I did. And I liked it. But thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.